Hi friends, welcome to Super Sunita channel. Today we are going to understand the lesson, the 3 questions, which is written by Leo Tolstoy. This is the first lesson prescribed for class 8. So let's start the story. So friends, this story is about a king, who wanted to find answers to 3 questions because, a thought came to the king that he would never fail in anything he undertakes if he can find answers to 3 questions. So what are those 3 questions? The first question is, what is the right time to begin anything? What is the right time? The second question is, which people should he listen to? What are the most important people he should listen to? That is the second question. And the third question is, what is the most important thing for him to do? So, in order to find answers to these 3 questions, because the king himself is unable to find answers, he thinks, he should take help of other people. Okay, so what does he do? The king, therefore, he sent messengers to all nook and corner of his kingdom, okay, promising a large sum of money to anybody who would help him to find answers to those 3 questions. Okay, this is the, a reader, a student, when he hears the story, for the first time, a curiosity arises. Oh, these are 3 questions which are very strange indeed, because the king doesn't want to fail in anything he undertakes. So he wanted to find answers to those 3 questions. Okay, so a curiosity, it evokes curiosity in the mind of the reader, in the mind of the student, to find out what exactly happens next. Okay, so now what will happen? The first question, all those 3 questions he wants to find answers. So learned men came to the king because they know that they would be rewarded with a large sum of money if they are able to answer the questions of the king and satisfy him. So many learned men from different parts of the kingdom came to the court, and they wanted to answer those questions. So, in response to the first question, what was the first question? The first question is, what is the right time to begin anything? For this question, some learned men is knowledgeable people, wise people, okay, who have knowledge about different aspects. They have in-depth knowledge, okay. These people, they answered that the right time to know the right time for every action, one must draw a timetable. What does it should contain? The table should contain the number of days, months and years to complete a particular task or for a particular action, and strictly adhere to that. Okay? And they also said that you have to decide for this to happen. If you want to draw a timetable, you have to first decide the action or what you have to do in advance, action or your goals. You have to list them out, okay, and set a time frame for that. That is number of days, number of months and years, and you have to strictly adhere to the timetable. Your other actions must complement, must fall in line with it. So this is what some learned men, they suggested. Others declared, others criticized, other section of learned men criticized. It's impossible to list all the actions, draw a timetable, strictly stick to the timetable. It's impossible. It's not possible. For example, suddenly, when the king, he has lot of responsibilities. Sometimes, a war may be declared by a neighboring king. He cannot draw a timetable, stick to it. All these things are impossible. He has to take action. He has to, call the army, and they have to spring into action. They have to decide the strategy, attack the neighboring kingdom, okay, and protect their kingdom. So it's impossible that, you know, they have to, all actions can be, you have to, you can visualize in advance and strictly adhere to timetable. It's not possible for a king, because a king has to foresee the future also. The king has to foresee enemies. He has to foresee any actions which will disturb the peace of the kingdom. So it's not possible always to stick to a timetable. So they criticized. Others declared that it's not possible. Okay, and some others suggested that one must not indulge in idle time. You should not indulge in free time. Okay, you should always attend to what was going on, and only you have to do those actions which are essential for the king. He must not have idle time, or then only success is ensured. One will not fail, okay, and in anything he undertakes. Okay, this is what some learned men they have suggested. Okay, but some of the learned men, they were of the opinion that even though the king might be very attentive, he might be drawing a timetable, strictly adhering to it, maybe he might be deciding what is important for him and only do those actions, but it is impossible for one man to decide what is the right time for every action, to have the framework and all. For that, that man should have a council of wise men who would help him to fix the right time for every action. That is what some of the learned men were of the opinion. So again, there is no consensus among the learned men about what is for the first question, that is, what is the right time to begin anything. Somewhere, some said timetable is advisable. Some said it's difficult to, visualize all the actions beforehand. It's difficult to only concentrate on important things and not waste time or spend time, wasting time and all. All this is not, it's difficult to put it in action, to adhere strictly. That is what some learned men. So there is no consensus among the learned men regarding the first question. So obviously the king is not satisfied with the first question. So again, then again others said there were some things, even for the council of wise men also, people are not, some learned men are not, they are not having... and some others said that even council of ministers, council of wise men deciding in advance the course of action, the actions to take place is also not possible, because they are not magicians. They are not the people, who know in advance what is the right time for every action. So again, there is a disagreement among the learned men. Okay. So the answers, the question is the same, but the answers are varied, they are different, and none of the learned men are agreeing with each other on the same opinion. They are having different opinions. So the king is not satisfied. So again, now he asks the second question. The second question is, what is the right time to what is the second question is, which people should he listen to? For this, some people, again for the second question also, the answers are varied. He got different answers. The answer is not same. None of them agreed on one particular answer. Some learned men said that the king, the people the king needed the most were the counselors. Who is a counselor, children? Counselor is one who will advise the king or governor on a particular course of action. Okay, and some people said that the priests are the most important people whom the king should listen to. And some learned men said the doctors are the most important people. And some said the warriors were the most important people. Again, there is no consensus. There is no single answer. Okay, again the king is not satisfied. Now, what was the third question? What is the most important thing for him to do? That is the third question. Okay, and so it is a question which is related to the occupation. Okay, occupation. And some learned men said the most important thing in the world was science. Others said it was warfare. Some others said it was religious worship. And again all the answers were different, and the king did not agree with none of the answers. So he is not, as answers to all the three questions were different. Okay, the king was not satisfied, and none of the learned men agreed with each other. So the king did not reward anybody. Okay, but still he wants to find the right answers to all his three questions. He decided to consult a hermit, and who is very widely known for his wisdom. So he decided to pay a visit to the hermit and find answers to all his three questions. So now to find answers to all the three questions, he decided to visit a hermit. This hermit lived in a wood. He lived in woods, and he only gave time for common people. He only spent time with common people. So in order to meet him and also get answers for all the three questions, the king, what he did was he disguised himself as a common person. He dressed simply, and he reached the hermit's place on a horse. And he also left his bodyguards behind, because if all the bodyguards, all his ministers and all would accompany him, the hermit would become suspicious that the king or some important person had visited him. So in order to avoid all this, the king purposefully, wantedly, he left all of them behind. He dressed simply and he went to meet the hermit. And when the king approached the hermit, he was digging the ground in front of the hut. Seeing the king, he greeted him and went on digging. So the hermit saw him, but he did not wait. He did not talk to him. He just kept on digging. Okay, and the king went to him and he asked told him the purpose of his visit. Okay, he asked him all those three questions which are bothering him, which he could not find answers, even though he discussed them with the most learned men of his kingdom. Okay, the hermit listened to the king, but he answered nothing. Okay, he still recommenced means starting. Recommencing means he started digging again. All right. Then the king, after the hermit did not respond to his three questions, the king said to the hermit that you are looking tired. Let me do the work for you. Let me do the digging part. The hermit gave the spade to the king and he sat down on the ground. Okay, and after digging 2 beds, the king stopped and repeated his questions. Even then, the king did not answer. He stretched out his hand for the spade and said he will resume the digging part. He will dig the ground. But the king still did not give him the spade and he continued to dig. Time passed, 1 hour passed, another hour passed, and it began, it is now the time for sunset. And the king at last, he stuck the spade into the ground, and then he again asked the hermit to answer his questions. Okay, and he also told him, if you answer those questions, I'll be able to return home peacefully. Okay. But the hermit, he did not, instead of, though he listened to the king's questions and his response, he said, somebody is coming, let me see who is that. And the king turned around and he saw a bearded man who is running out of the wood. And the man held his hands pressed against his stomach and blood was flowing from under them. Okay, and he was looking weak. So now there is a man came, and he's pressing his hands against he's a stranger. He's pressing his hands against his stomach and blood was flowing from his clothes, and he looked weak. So what the first thing the king and the hermit did was they unfastened the man's clothing, and there was a large wound in his stomach, and the king washed the wound as best as he could, and he bandaged it with his handkerchief and towel, and he repeatedly did this, and he again washed, rebandaged the wound, and at last the man, he was able to, he was saved, and he asked for something to drink. And the king brought some fresh water and gave it to him. Meanwhile, the sun had set and it became cool. So since it's cool and the patient is there, the person is very sick. So the king, with the hermit's help, carried the wounded man into the hut and laid him on the bed. And as the man was on the bed and he closed his eyes and was quiet, the king was so tired with his walk and all the nursing, all the, care he has taken for the stranger, that he slept on the threshold. Threshold means he slept at the entrance itself. See, remember, we are talking about a king who enjoys worldly comforts. He gets the best bed, he gets the best comforts, best food, best clothing. But after the service to this wounded man, to the stranger, the king was so tired, he forgot about those 3 questions, he forgot that he's a king. He just, is so tired that he slept on the doorway. Okay? And he fell asleep so soundly, he slept the whole night. Okay? And, but when he woke up in the morning, he could only remember, there was a bearded man laying on the bed who was, looking intently at him with shining eyes. The bearded man, in a weak voice, asked him for forgiveness. Then the king was a little shocked, surprised. He said, I don't know you and have nothing to forgive you for, said the king. Now, after the king wakes up, he finds the stranger, and then the stranger says, I am your enemy and I wanted to take revenge on you because you executed my brother and seized his property, and that is the reason I came here to see the hermit, and also I made a resolution to kill you on your return journey. But the day passed on and you did not return. So I came out from my ambush, that is the hiding place, to find you, and also I came upon your bodyguard. They recognized me. The king's bodyguard recognized him, and he wounded me. That's what the stranger tells him. And I escaped from him, and that's the reason I had this wound. And if you wouldn't have dressed my wound, I wish to kill you. But now since you saved my life, this is your gift. That is, the life you're given is your gift. So I would serve the rest of my life as your most faithful slave, and also will tell my sons to do the same. Please forgive me. So these are the words of the stranger, the person who came to kill the king. So the king was very glad. The king was very glad to have made peace with his enemies so easily, because he didn't need to do much, and he also gained a friend, and so he not only forgave his enemy, but also said he would send his servants and his own physician to attend him, and also promised to restore his property. Okay. Now, after having taken care of the wounded man, the king went to the veranda. Porch is the veranda or entryway, and he looked around for the hermit. Okay. Again, the hermit was outside on his knees, and he was sowing seeds in the beds that he had dug the day before. Again, the king approached. The king did not give up. He wanted to find the answers to all the three questions. He went to the hermit and he asked him. The king again approached the hermit and he wanted
on
the
the
answers.
best use of our present time, and the people who are with us in the present are the most important
said
ones.
All your questions have already been
the
answered. The king was little perplexed.
work.
So how come? Because he didn't answer the
The king
questions
got
directly.
answers to all the three questions.
Then he said,
that is,
see,
let me
yesterday,
explain it a little more.
Here all that you did was, the most important time was when you were digging the beds.
That
so
is,
the most important time is the
present time.
That time,
and the
when we
hermit
have
was
some
the
power
important
to do,
man.
That is the present
And
time.
to do good
present
was the
time, we are the
important
master of our
business.
present time.
So
we must
when
not
the
waste
when
it,
the wounded
as our
man
future
came
depends
running towards the king, he becomes the most important person, because in the present time, the people surrounding the king are the most important people. So in this situation, the wounded man, the hermit are all the important people. And so the most important time is the time when the king was attending the wounded man, when he is nursing him, when he is bandaging the wounds. Otherwise, because if the king did not do that, he would have the wounded man would have died without making peace with him. So in that situation, the wounded man was the most important person, and to save his life, to nurse him, to nurse his wounds, and to make sure his wounds heal, that is the most important business. So what, friends, so this tells us that is the most important time is again the present time, and the most important people are the people who are there in the present moment. Okay. And the most important thing for us to do is to make sure that you do some good. Okay. And because we never know whether we would live later, or we would be there to do more good work. So we have to live in the present, do good for all the people surrounding us, and make sure we lead a complete life. That is the main purpose. To do good to others is the main purpose for which man has been sent to this world. So this is the story, friends. I'm sure you liked it. Friends, for me to make more good videos, informative videos, and to make the lessons easier for you, please subscribe. Please refer my videos to others, and make sure that you help me to continue this good work. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, friends. We'll meet in the next video.